Alright guys, it's Dave Reaper from Mel Gaming, bringing you my Ace 21 CQB review here on Operation Locker. This is Conquest Large and Operation Locker, so it's the new Operation Clusterfuck. So C's definitely taken, and I'm just going to try and push around to D. But anyway, onto the weapon itself. So this is one of the carbines. And the carbines are available for all classes in Battlefield 4. I've got the Prisma 3.4x scope on it, along with a heavy barrel and a tactical flashlight, and then the stubby grip, I believe, or perhaps the angled, can't quite remember. The angled foregrip, it looks like. So the weapon itself, it's got a 410 meter per second bullet muzzle velocity. Which isn't bad for the carbines, but I mean it's not the best. It's also got one of the highest rates of fire. We're at 770 rounds per minute, and as with all the carbines, as part of a balancing idea for DICE, they've changed the acceleration due to gravity on all the guns to try and balance them out a bit more against the other ones. So for all the carbines, it is in fact 15 meters per second squared, rather than the usual about 9.81 in the real world. But that's just a source of balancing stuff. For the damage, you can see that you can see that it takes down people quite easily thanks to the RPM when you're at close range. But the maximum damage you can do with this gun is 25, and so that's a 4-shot kill. But the drop-off starts at 8 meters and ends at 50 meters, where the gun only does 15.4. I mean that's normal with almost all the carbines except for the Ace 52, which I'll probably do in a later video because it's also another personal favourite. So the reload time for this gun is 2.1 seconds if the drop bullet's still in the mag, as it gets snuck up on by a guy with L96, L85 even, sorry. And then if you have a completely empty mag, then it's 3.1 seconds. So all of this kind of adds up to this gun is an absolute beast at close range. But when you try and go to longer ranges, thanks to the recoil on it, which is 0.36 degrees upwards and then 0.25 right, 0.15 left, so that's a bit of a diagonally down left pull on your mouse to try and control it. Kind of leads to you getting killed a few times when you're trying to take people on at range, because it's very difficult to try and control it. However, I find if I put the 3.4x scope on it, it helps me out at range, because of course you can tap fire it a bit better, you can see what you're shooting at, and then the tactical light is more for close range engagements, blind your enemies. If they're using an IRNV sight, they simply can't see. But yeah, so I have to push up to E here, trying to take it from the top floor. They've got the bottom floor covered at the moment, so I better just deal with it. But yeah, so this is about the. Give me a second. This is one of the few carbines that I've used a lot of. I mean, obviously the AK5C I've used almost all the time. Because of the fact it's the first carbine you get, and it is by far the best in my opinion. Just as a weapon you can use in all situations. So I believe the Ace 21 is about the 5th or 6th unlocked one. But I'm not entirely sure. However, its counterpart, as it were, the Ace 52, is much later, is unlocked much later, but is much better at longer ranges. And then of course it has its big brother, the Ace 23, the assault rifle, which you unlock via the achievement, and that ends up, that is actually quite a good weapon, just mid-range, middle of the table, great weapon in all respects, I feel. But I don't really play with the assault rifles too much because you can only use them on the assault class, which means that well, if you start getting used to them, you're not going to play with any other classes. So I don't really use it. That's just my opinion. So onto the gameplay here. So I'm playing with Ghost Pete. He's someone behind me at the moment, and we're trying to push up the snow lane, as I like to call it. It's quite difficult to do. Usually they've got it packed up, and certainly if they're inside C on the left here, as we come around this rock here, you can't push in there. The only real choice you have is to run past and head down to D and E, and then start the back rage. Which is why usually I use my suppressor on this gun rather than the heavy barrel, but often I find that it's actually better to use the heavy barrel just so you can get the accuracy. So you're just not being able to take people out at longer range. So as Pete and I head over towards the towards E point, as you can tell now, there aren't that many people here. Most people are pushing through C or around C or stuff like that, and it leads to them being caught up there, and they just can't go anywhere else. I mean, this is a 64-man server, and yet we've just run round the map, around everyone. So I'm just going to take out this explosive barrel here, because that is going to absolutely cause havoc if they get it. I don't imagine there's any other problems here, to be honest with you. But as we capture here, so I tend to use either the 3.4x scope or one of the red dot sights on this gun. The 3.4x scope simply so I can scope people at longer ranges and actually see them coming. But the reflex sight is certainly easier to use. Because the red dot sights are just so much better. For close quarters, even at longer ranges, you can sort of tell the distances and compensate. But I mean, to be perfectly honest, it's not really a problem to me. And now right here I've got my set nade, because of course the levolution on this map, you can turn out the lights on the switch down that corner with that grenade. Unfortunately, I don't bother going inside. And I really should have, as you can see as I turn around here, there's a guy just standing in the doorway who wants my blood. And he gets it. That's enough from me now. So if you want to see the next episode of this, bring it out soon, hit the link to go to the playlist, and we'll make sure we put that up as soon as we get it. That'll be sometime next week probably. And then hit the subscribe button for more Battlefield 4 and other videos, and I hope you have a good one.